Greetings, fellow Americans. Welcome to Fireside Chats, State of Our Nation. I am your host, Susanna Tanner, candidate for House of Representatives 2026 and President 2028. We're going to talk about the medical portion of the bill that Trump just signed into law. Now, there's quite a bit here. Let's start out by saying that there's quite a bit of cuts in here. The biggest one is for 2026. So aggravating. The bill only allots $10 million to the Medicare, Medicaid program, Medicare program for 2026, and $20 million for 2029. Our Medicare spending actually grew to $1.3 trillion in 2023. That is a lot of spending. But that is us getting our medical needs taken care of. Right? $10 million does not cover it. There's no way. $20 million doesn't cover it. It's just not enough. To be able to have a proper system, you need a lot more than that. You have to cover everything. Everything has to be paid for. And that's just, those small numbers are not going to work. People will not get the medical care that they need. And it will be because there will not be enough staff to either take care of the patient themselves or to even process their claims. And that's kind of what you get with such a low number. Under my national healthcare system, Medicare and Medicaid are actually folded into the system. They are basically they're the state name for the national healthcare system. It's still processed. All the claims are still processed through the state, through the state's systems. But it's fully funded. It's fully funded by the people, and the people will get the health care that they need. The system is funded through an opt-in on your W-4 that you fill out for your employment. It's also available to opt in on a business license, and that's including in corporations. And the way that it would work with businesses and corporations is very similar to how it works now. You would pay into the healthcare system through the company, so they would take it as part of your taxes, much like it's already taken for Medicare. We have it on our pay stubs, so that it can be tracked. This tax on it, it's a contribution tax. It would be paid through the IRS. It could be donated to a medical charity. We've got to make sure that medical health care is paid for. Or you can pay it to your doctor, like you would a co-payment. As long as you're paying into it, it gets paid for. And by opting in on your W-4, you're taking a lot of work out of the system itself, because it'll automatically be taken out with your taxes, just like it is now. But it's allotted to a different area. It's allotted to the national healthcare system. Now, this is what we would call universal health care. It's fully funded by the people, and it would work. This bill, though, also allows the government to gain access to everyone's addresses through agencies like the USPS, the United States Postal Service. My biggest concern with that is how these addresses are going to be used. Um, it seems to me that this method could be used to cause grief with the American public in the form of more ICE raids using the that system to obtain addresses for residents who are maybe even are legal and they're still out to be deported because of Donald Trump's administration. So that's my biggest concern there. I think it is also possible that they could be used for other nefarious purposes, such as going after generations, generational resident citizens, such as families who have been here for a very long time, and maybe Trump just doesn't like them. That's what dictators do. So this is one of the reasons why this concerns me, getting addresses through agencies like the USPS. Now, as far as records like a master death record for our nation to keep track of who has passed away and who is still living, I think that's actually a good thing. It's important to be able to match those records to keep fraud from happening. And there have been instances where a payment or two might be received after a person has been deceased for a time, but oftentimes those get taken care of. So it's it'll be a little bit easier to keep that particular fraud from happening by keeping a master death records. Now they have listed in here that medical care cannot be given to immigrants who are of illegal status. My concern about this is that it will cause our death toll to rise in our nation. Immigrants already pay taxes, so why wouldn't they be able to get health care? And that's including illegal immigrants. They still pay taxes. If this is allowed, it could have some pretty damaging effects on our nation. Under my national health care system, though, even immigrants get health care because they're paying into the system. They're also able to opt in. If an individual doesn't want to opt in, that's all right. This is an additional option for our citizens, for our nation. It's a universal healthcare system, so naturally it's going to be available to immigrants. How are we supposed to keep our immigrants healthy and able to work if we don't provide them health care? There are things in our nation that a lot of Americans are not willing to do that immigrants are, such as work in the fields and crops and farms and such like that. Immigrants paying into the healthcare system helps boost our healthcare system economy. It helps our our healthcare economy by providing funding to that economy. And that actually brings me back to the amount that has been allotted for Medicare, Medicaid. That amount doesn't guarantee health care for everyone, and it definitely excludes immigrants, especially illegal immigrants. It is very, very disheartening to see someone who can't get health care because they can't pay, or because they're not allowed to because they're not a citizen. Now, it doesn't guarantee health care for everyone. It doesn't guarantee that everyone will receive the health care that they need. So it's important for us to think about these things and do our research, read the bill ourselves, and see what you make of it. I encourage everyone to uh, contact your representatives who are currently in Congress, especially if you believe that this is a bill that you don't want to have, especially this aspect of this bill as part of our budgeting. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm not sure how much we can do, but we should try regardless, because something is better than nothing. And in order for us to get our voices heard, we got to contact our representatives. There has also been, there's been a lot of things going on with Donald Trump, especially. I've also learned about some investigation into the attempted assassination of Donald Trump while he was still a candidate. There have been multiple Secret Service members that have been suspended because of this incident. Now, I have commented on attempted assassinations before, especially of Donald Trump, and regardless of what you think of him, it's not okay. Violence should be kept to a zero level. This type of violence, regardless of who it is directed at, it just brings our nation down. It diminishes our nation. So we must refrain from trying to assassinate a president that we don't like. There are legal ways to remove someone from office. I recently watched an episode of Christopher Titus Armageddon Update from Christopher Titus TV. And he had a special guest on there from the Election Truth Alliance. This is the second time I've seen this person as a guest. And this person has provided a lot of really good information related to the Election Truth Alliance and their discovery of some anomalies in the election of 2024 and some even in 2020. I believe it is important for us to review for ourselves the agency. They are an independent, nonpartisan agency. This is one of the ways that we can legally remove Donald Trump from office. There is already a lawsuit in Rockland County, New York, that is challenging the results of that county's election from this last November. And I believe it is important for all of our counties, every county in every state, to also submit to a recount, a hand recount of all votes. Once you look at the data that the Election Truth Alliance has discovered and put together, I believe that more people will understand what that data means. I believe that it is also in our best interest, in this nation's best interest, for Kamala Harris to challenge the results of the 2024 election. Because the way that this data is looking, it is showing some serious questionable data. Questionable as in Miss Harris seems to have gotten way less votes than Donald Trump, and as in Rockland County, New York, did not receive any votes in that particular county. It's not just in that county. So it's important for all of us to really look into this. If you feel like you can make a difference, please do so. And even if you don't feel like you can make a difference, let's voice it. Let's voice it to Miss Harris. Let's see if we can do something about this and get her into office where she should be. Because even though I didn't vote for her, I believe that she is the rightful president, and that Donald Trump was not lying when he said that the election was rigged. Everybody thinks that he lies all the time, but the problem is that he throws in some truth in there if you listen. And these things, like this bill, the Medicaid cuts, this wouldn't be happening if Kamala Harris was in office right now. And it's not just about the presidency either. There is some evidence that is going to be coming to light that may or may not um, also point to election fraud for certain Republican candidates that are currently in the House of Representatives and possibly in the Senate. So it's important for us to keep an eye on these things. I am going to provide the link to the Christopher Titus episodes that I'm speaking about so that everyone can check those out for themselves. And the link to the Election Truth Alliance, that will be in the description of this video, especially after it's published. That is all I have for today. I thank you for your time, and may our path lead to peace and prosperity.